Hi, this is Ben, and I want to take you through another edition of React Hacks. Today I'm going to show you this really cool canvas feature. It starts by clicking on one of the images below, and that image becomes the background of the canvas tag. You can start drawing, you can clear, and I've added a color picker so you can draw with different colors. This is a build that I first did with vanilla JavaScript, and I found it pretty challenging because you end up using a lot of methods and properties inside of something called context, and context is what I'm actually drawing on top of. You can't just add a canvas tag and then start doing your thing. You first have to give that canvas tag a context, and then you can access all of those methods and properties. So when I show you the code, I'll explain what those things are doing. When I made this in React, getting that context was the first big challenge I had to overcome, and I will add a link to this article that I used which explains how to use a canvas tag, access the context inside of a React component. So let's clear this and take a look at the code. First, I want to show you the page that we were just at, which is this component called draw, and I've added the background image in state so that when you click on one of these images, we're going to invoke handle click, and handle click will set state to that particular image. Then I'll take that image and pass it down to this custom component called canvas. Now, I have this component called canvas. Inside of it is an actual HTML element called canvas, and I'll show you why that's important. Well, I want to get that context. Everything happens with context. So that starts by using this useRef hook built inside of React, and then that variable I've saved the hook to is going to get passed to the actual canvas element. Then I'm going to use the useEffect hook and access that canvas reference that I just added and bind it to this canvas variable. And then to that canvas variable, I'm going to use this method called getContext. And now I have a context that I can draw with. I'm going to do a little bit of a configuration here. This is just a bit of styling for the line itself. Then I'm going to invoke the function draw, pass it the context. We'll take a closer look at that in a second. And I want to make sure to add to the dependency array that draw function. Now we have context. So I have these variables here that I will use inside of the draw function. IsDrawing is going to determine whether or not we're going to actually draw inside of the context, and then these are coordinates that I want to keep track of. Then I'm going to add a few event listeners. Two are going to make sure that IsDrawing remains false, and those will set IsDrawing to false when the mouse is not being clicked, that's mouse up, or if the mouse is outside of the canvas tag, that's when mouse is out. The other two event listeners, the first is mouse down, so you've clicked on the mouse, and now IsDrawing will be set to true, and that will also keep track of the coordinates that you clicked when you first clicked on the mouse. And then when the mouse moves, we're going to invoke the draw function, passing it the context and the event. Draw is first going to make sure that we've cleared that flag variable. So if you are clicking the mouse and over the canvas tag, then we can proceed with the rest of the function. Now we have context again, our friend context, and that's where we're going to access its properties and methods. The first method will be beginPath, then move_to, and we're going to tell it where to start using our last x and last y variable. Then line_to, and we'll tell context where to draw the line to using wherever the mouse currently is. And remember, this draw function is going to continuously be running or being invoked anytime the mouse is being moved. Finally, the stroke method will actually draw the line on the screen, and then we want to keep track of where the user last was clicked onto the canvas by updating the last x and last y variables according to where the user last was clicking on the canvas. So now we can actually draw a line, but I want to show you before we go how we changed the color and how we cleared. To change the color, I've used this input tag with a type of color, and that accesses a color picker. When you change the value of that input tag, I'm going to then use the stroke style property inside of context and set it to whatever the value of the color picker is. So now we can change the color. Finally, to clear the canvas, there is a method called clearRect inside of context, and you pass it 0, 0 along with the width and height of the canvas tag itself, and that will erase or clear anything inside of the canvas tag. That takes you through today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.